Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Rakhimov versus Nunes fight. If you're new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, like the video if you do indeed like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Rakhimov is 17-1-1 with 14 KOs, and Nunes is 26-1 with 26 KOs. This fight is a 12-round fight in the super featherweight division, and is an IBF World Title Fight Eliminator. Rakhimov's last fight was a loss via split decision versus Cordina, and Nunes' last fight was a win via TKO in round 2 versus Eskandon. Nunes' loss came via unanimous decision versus Gallardo in 2018. This is in Rakhimov's home country of Tajikistan. And yeah, just to speak about what I've just been saying there, obviously this is, like I said, the IBF World Title Eliminator, and so that would be for Cordina's belt. Do I think that fight, I think if Rakhimov wins this one, I don't know if he's necessarily going to go straight into another fight with Cordina, if I'm being completely honest. But if Nunes wins this one, then you never know, because it's different opposition for Cordina. I think you could definitely sell a fight for Cordina and Nunes because of Nunes' ability to knock opponents out and his 100% KO ratio so far. I feel like there's definitely something you can sell there. Possibly a bit more than what you could sell a rematch between Rakhimov and Cordina, even though the first fight was a very good fight and it was a close fight. Obviously, Cordina went and won the fight. Rakhimov lost, but like I say, it was a close fight, split decision, a fight which was going right down to the very end, and it was a very entertaining fight. And you know, I wouldn't hate seeing a rematch personally, but like I said, I don't know if we would necessarily see a rematch for if he does win this one. But obviously he's fighting his home country. Rakhimov, this card as a whole isn't really being advertised too much. To be completely honest, I wasn't even sure if this card was going ahead or not. But I believe it's because it's like an IBA world title that's at like the top of the bill on this one, and they're not going to advertise it a lot of stations because the IBA isn't really a sanctioned body which is used or allowed to be used much from what I know. But either way, there are some actual good fights on that card, and this is one of the ones, and this is the co-main event of that card. So, you know, in my opinion, this is a very important fight for the division, and like I say, it's an entertaining one, and one which I definitely think will catch fire with two kind of front foot type fighters, and obviously with Nunes' KO ratio, he's going to be wanting to protect that, of course, and this is arguably his first proper tough test, and you know, we're going to be able to see how he does in that. But to speak about them both as fighters, so Rakhimov, obviously he's a front foot, like I said, fighter, they both are. He's got a tight guard, he's also a pressure type fighter though, and I feel like that pressure front foot, like I mentioned, is going to make this fight a very entertaining fight. Rakhimov, he can take a shot, but he was hurt against Cordina at times. Nunes, his defence isn't seen to be amazing, and he does take quite a lot of punishment, and he can struggle against fighters who move well. I think Rakhimov doesn't move especially well, but he's possibly the faster out of the two, so I felt like that could play a factor. But to carry on what I was saying about Rakhimov, he's got good shot variation, good work rate. He cuts off the ring relatively well. He can fight in close or at mid-range. I think he could probably, in my opinion, fight at a mid-range better than that of Nunes. He has got a solid chin. I mean, he has been hurt, and he was hurt against Cordina at points, but I mean, he managed to recover relatively well, and so he has got a solid chin. He will also stand in the centre, and I feel like this fight could definitely be a battle for the centre of the ring. Possibly, I would say that Rakhimov would be the one who could control that, as typically he is the one that is controlling the centre a bit more than what Nunes is. Nunes is also a pressure front foot type fighter, but I think he is willing to go onto the back foot and willing to, you know, fight off the ropes if necessary. He won't be bullied, Rakhimov. He's got the faster combinations. I feel like that could definitely create damage if this is going into the later rounds of this fight. The faster combinations of that of Rakhimov. He's, in my opinion, the more accurate out of the two with his work. He's got good body work, like I say, he changed levels well. He's aggressive, and he will give his all in fights, and he most definitely proved that in that last fight versus Cordina, where he did definitely give his all. Speak about the possible negatives or things that you have to kind of look out for in this fight. I mean, he walks onto shots quite a lot, and he most definitely did that in his last fight. So if he's walking onto Nunes' shots, and they're going to be difficult shots to continuously walk onto all night, he doesn't have amazingly good balance. He can struggle against speed, but I mean Nunes hasn't really got loads of speed. He can be kind of manoeuvred around the ring, and Cordina did that really well, but I don't think really Nunes is that technically advanced to be able to do that in my opinion. He's not really got much head movement, so Nunes is definitely going to be able to hit him, and he does get hit a lot. Similar to that of Nunes, they both do get hit a lot. He doesn't really move well defensively in general. Like I say, the head movement ain't really amazing. I'd possibly say it's a little bit better than Nunes's, but it's still not amazing. And he doesn't really move his feet that well. And in my opinion, he freezes up quite a lot. And possibly it's when he's hurt, possibly just when, you know, when he just wants to be on the front foot and he doesn't want to go on the back foot. He does kind of seem to freeze up, and then he takes quite a lot of punishment when he is just freezing up. He's got the less power at the two. Doesn't say he doesn't have power. He definitely does. I mean, he's put on some powerful displays and got some good stoppages in his time, but he does have, of course, the less power at the two, and doesn't always counter back. I feel like Nunes, like I'm going to mention in a moment, has got better counters to an extent, just because when he cements his feet and he's got in his head that he's throwing a combination, nothing that you're throwing back is going to be able to stop that combination that he's going to throw from coming. And so to an extent you can class that as counter-punching to an extent, like I say. But Rakhimov, he doesn't really seem to counter back much when he is throwing, and like I say, that's when he does freeze up a bit in the process as well. Nunes though, obviously he's aggressive as well. He's got that immense power, and it's going to be tested now at the top level. He creates space quite well, something which I've seen with a couple of his stoppages. He's kind of like manoeuvred the defensive kind of guard of the opponent to then be able to create that space to then throw his aggressive shot in the process, and it happens quite quickly. It's not something you can always necessarily see, but it is impressive when he does do it. He obviously, like I say, pressure, front foot, he controls the centre, he wants to control the centre, but like I say, he's more willing to be on the back foot than that of Rakhimov in my opinion. He's an in-close type fighter, and he doesn't really do amazingly good work at mid-range, but he will force the fight to be in close, and he's going to have to, in my opinion, be the one to get in close. He makes opponents stand and trade, and I think Rakhimov could be inclined to stand and trade. He's physical, solid combinations as well, not as fast, but solid. When he changes levels, he looks good, but he doesn't always necessarily change levels as much as probably he should, in my opinion. But he does look good when he does do it. He's can be quite relentless with that pressure. Like I say, does counter to an extent well. He's not really afraid of anything that's going to come back at him, and he has got a good chin as well. I mean, defensively, he's not really got anything defensively going for him, probably even less than that of Rakhimov, but he's got a good chin and he can take a good shot, so to an extent you can count that as a defence to an extent. The negatives about him, he's not overly fast. Like I say, he's a slower out of the two. He tires probably more out of the two than Rakhimov. Rakhimov seemed to gain a bit of a second wind in that fight versus Cordina. He's also there to be hit, and he's more open to the body than that of Rakhimov, who's got probably that tighter guard in my opinion. He stands straight on. He can headhunt a little bit at times when he isn't utilising that body work, and like I say, that's when it does become a little bit poorer from him attacking wise. He can struggle against movers. Rakhimov, like I say, isn't really an especially big mover. His accuracy at times isn't amazing when he's unloading his shots. He has a lack of defense entirely, similar to that of Rakhimov, and he does have a bit of an open guard at times when he is just standing and trading. His guard can become open when he is doing that, and so you kind of would want to be timing him to an extent, and his balance isn't amazing either. So if you do time him, then you could definitely catch him up, slipping up on that. Rakhimov is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Nunes will win via TKO in round 5. I think if this goes to the later rounds, and Rakhimov is most definitely going to be the one that I would favour, but I can't see it. I think Nunes is going to be able to be the one to push that pressure, possibly catch Rakhimov off guard to an extent, and I think he could freeze up, and if he freezes up, he didn't get punished in my opinion quite as much as he against Cordina as he could have done. I think Cordina could have possibly gotten him out of there at one point, but I think with Nunes' power, if he catches him freezing up and he's the one, like, even if he is on the back foot, he is countering, I think Nunes could be the one finding success, and then he could win via early stoppage, and then that's a big win for him, doing something which Cordina couldn't do, and Cordina is the champion, and so like I say, there's something that definitely could be sold there. So he could go on to fight the winner of Cacace versus Cordina, or other options, something like Foster, who's fighting Nova, so the winner of Foster versus Nova, that could make for a big fight, or even Wood to an extent. He's moving up in weight. They're both, well, I believe Nunes has fought with big promotions in the past, so you never know. That could be a really big test for Wood, and it seems like, I don't know, it seems like the Wood Cordina fight, I don't know if that's going to be able to actually happen at any point this year. And then the Wood Warrington rematch, I'm not sure if it actually is going to happen either. So if Wood wants a bit of a, not a takeover fight, but a still tough fight, but against an opponent who is also going to be entertaining as well, that could be a fight to be made. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you didn't, like, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.